wish I could add to the lore and the knowledge and the information that's come out. I can't. I mean, I was surprised at one revelation after another. I truly was, because it is, Freud said each of us experiences our own present naively, and I think that's true. I was very much an idealist. I was involved in the campaign of 1960, but I wanted to get away from politics right after the election and go and help found the Peace Corps, and I did. Kennedy finally persuaded me to do that, and then I wound up in the Johnson White House only by coincidence. I was in Texas at the time of the assassination, and I flew to Dallas and wrote a note to the. I'd worked for Lyndon Johnson in 1954 when he was in the Senate, and of course I worked for him in 1960. But and the Secret Service man took the note. I said, Mr. President, I'm here if you need me. Secret Service agent took it to the President and brought it back and said, come on up. And I flew back to Dallas, and he never asked me to come to work for him, and I never said I'll come to work for him, but I wound up staying there 4 years. But I was working at first on the civil rights legislation, on the environment, on education, on establishing public broadcasting, and I wasn't paying. There weren't these rumors. There weren't these.
If there were, would it have disillusioned you from working for these men?
Well, I grew up a conservative, culturally and religiously conservative fellow in East Texas in a Baptist church, and it would have shocked me. Yes, it would have. What would it have changed my mind? John Kennedy had the capacity to move me. I remember standing in the cold of the inauguration in 1961, January of 1961. It was cold, and through that icy wind came those words, to bear any burden. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And I realized in years later that what John F. Kennedy was doing was inspiring me to think of myself beyond myself, to think of what I could become that was bigger than how I was thinking. And a great leader does it. Obama has that power. He has that capacity. Go back in your mind, in the picture in your head, to Grant Park. That very same Grant Park where in 1968 America was coming apart. Remember that? And the riots, the police riots, and the riots of the protesters. And the other day I took I looked at the video of Grant Park on election night last year, Bill. The faces of those young people, the gleam in their eyes, the hope in their faces, the determination, the belief in the idealist was like that of 1961. I suppose if you came out and said to me that you and Obama were a couple, that would probably change my...
Well, I wasn't really going to go that far with it, but I take your point.
Great presidents have the power to move people with words, and then by making the choices that back up those words. And that's the big challenge for Barack Obama now, is to back up that powerful, moving, inspiring rhetoric with strong decisions on that he can tell the people why he's doing it and say, this is what we're going to do.
You also have that power, and you've done it magnificently for all these years to move people with words. I am in your debt. Thank you so much for being on this show and for what you've always done. That is our show. I want to thank Jay-Z and Bill Moyers. We're going to take a couple of weeks off, and then we'll be back with our normal show September 11th. Thank you, folks.